Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch was one of my favorites of 2018 from Patek Philippe in platinum. This is the 5270P-001, the perpetual calendar chronograph, a lineage dating back to 1941 and the reference 1518. Today, the 5270 serves as that flagship for Patek Philippe, an emblematic complication in one of its most attractive forms. This was the first platinum version of the 5270, and it married a platinum case with a top Vesselton diamond between the lugs and a lovely salmon dial in what they would call rose opaline with blackened white gold hands, numerals, and indices. 41 millimeters in diameter, it's 12.8 millimeters thick, it's 49.6 lug to lug, it's got a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs, and yes, I did put it on the scale, 134.39 grams, so a substantial watch at well over a quarter pound. On the wrist, it wears large but not huge. I describe it as a full-sized watch rather than oversized watch, and I do believe you need a wrist of 16 centimeters circumference to wear this. Taking a look down the barrel, now I'm not pulling this strap particularly tight. The lugs are getting out to the edge of my wrist, and over the top you could see they're there. Maybe a 15 centimeter wrist if your wrist is very flat across the top, but the no doubt sizing would be 16 centimeters circumference and up. It's fairly low in profile, under 13 millimeters, and it has a concave bezel and a sloped case flank, so it will slide under a dress cuff. The strap is very high grade. Patek likes to talk about using only large square scales. Well, rectangular is not square, but I appreciate their sentiment. This is an expensive and an uncommon cut of the beast. You have to pay more for it because it's a small swatch of the hide under the belly. So when you see these large rectangular symmetrical scales, money was spent. It also has a wonderful souplesse to it. It does not feel excessively stiff for a strap that is in excellent condition. You could see calfskin on the bottom, pull tab spring bars, so you can pop it off the case without a tool. We have a matching platinum pin buckle, Calatrava Cross logo on the buckle. You'll see it also on the crown, popping open the buckle, which is platinum, just like the watch. We have a radial spring right here that snaps into a socket and closes with more security than your average snap-shut friction-fit clasp. We have lugs that jump out of the case band dramatically. You can see that step lug design, quite attractive. And this is, we'll get really close here, welded lug case design where the lug is welded onto the case band. So that is typically a very slow-going artisanal way to make a case. And welding is followed by filing to get the super sharp break between the surfaces. So this is a laborious, slow-going way to build a case, but a flagship piece like this, you don't need to make thousands upon thousands per year. You can go slow with the case construction. The case back is stepped in somewhat to shrink the watch when it's on the wrist. We have a little bit of an instep of the bezel to visually thin it, then a concave profile terminating in a flange adjacent to a boxed and cambered crystal, Calatrava Cross on the crown, and then we have these rectangular pushers which are vintage inspired. You can see satin on their tops as well as their bottoms, then polished on their outer faces. Some folks will ask about hacking and Patek Philippe watches, and well, almost all of the recent in-house calibers do feature hacking, so let's just put that to bed. This is a watch designed in a little bit of a vintage style, and you can see that with vertically arrayed Arabic numerals, the tachymetric scale on the dial rather than the bezel, leaf hands. And you can see we've got a lot going on. So we've got white gold blackened indices on the bottom, numerals on the top, blackened hands on the center. We have sunken sub-registers with an azurage or concentric pattern here, here, and here. Here are your running seconds. Here's your jumping, instantaneous chronograph minutes. Here is your moon phase, which has a 122-year adjustment interval. Your pointer-style date, note the absence of the chin on the scale below the date. This is a perpetual calendar, so only one correction in the year 2100. Until then, keep it running and you're scot-free. We have a day-night indicator here that will transform from dark blue to white as we move into the daylight hours. Now we're passing 6 a.m. And that's important because that little indicator, it's not for cave explorers who need to know day and night without seeing the sky. This is actually so you know when not to use the pusher adjusters for correcting the calendar system. When you see white, you're okay. When it's blue, don't go. Leap year phase indicator 4 is the quantième bissextile, the leap year, or if you want to remember it the easy way, the Summer Olympics. And then we have a super crisp column wheel actuation with a lateral clutch. It's got a little bit of lateral clutch leap to it. Patek says that it does not, but it does. It's a 4 Hz beat rate. It features a free-sprung Gyromax style balance adjusted in 6 positions. It has a metal overcoil hairspring, and in Patek's world, the metal overcoil and the lateral clutch chronograph is a more expensive, higher-level watch, primarily because it requires a higher-level Patek Philippe watchmaker to build and service it. So, you may ask, why not a vertical clutch in silicon? Well, aside from the fact that those are more mass-produced, they require less talent to assemble and regulate. Now here you can see the lateral clutch, which is right here. It's steel. All the chronograph parts are principally steel. So they're brushed on their tops and beveled on their sides. The brass parts, or the bridges of the movement in brass, have stripes on their tops and beveling on their sides. We have engine turning on the base plate. We have polished screw heads with chamfered slots in circumference. The column wheel in Geneva style is capped, and this originally was in order to prevent the levers and horns from popping out if they were shocked or concussed. Today, it's considered to be an element that serves as the basis for decoration, such as this beveling and mirror polish. We have an instantaneous jump system for the minutes. You can see here the pawl and the wheel. And it's a 65-hour manual wind power reserve, all this protecting down to 30 meters. I would recommend you not try to submerge this watch. 30 meters in this instance, regardless of what Patek is saying, is probably suitable for splash or rain exposure. I know they're talking about 30 meters being a real 30 meters today, but wear your Nautilus, wear your Aquanaut, wear your Cubitus. I don't find it a risk worth taking with a complicated dress watch. It's a 33 jewel movement. This is the 29535 PSQ, so substantially larger than the previous Lamagna-based movement, so it better fills this large case back, and the decoration is to a high standard. One of my favorite elements here, besides the black polished capped wheel, is that if you look here, you can see that there are at least 2 different sizes of engine turning on the base plate, and if you look carefully, you can also see that there's beveling within the wheels, and that there are unique spoke styles for the driving wheel, the intermediate wheel, and then the chronograph center wheel. Also, if you're a connoisseur of chronographs, take a close look, and you can see that the driving wheel off the 4th wheel of the movement, and the intermediate wheel, and the chronograph center wheel, look at them. They have 3 different tooth patterns. Little things like that are cool to movement, guys, and there is a lot to love in this movement. An all-time great Patek Philippe, and perhaps its greatest form. This is the 5270P with salmon dial in platinum. Reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.